don't know, really.
I mean, you can't give people the option of littering. It's all about leadership. What are you doing? What is the deterrence? What is the messaging? I think we used to even hear more messaging about, keeping your area tidy, littering.
Yeah.
These days, nobody really cares.
Vice President Aliu Muhammad, may he rest in peace. He brought all that thinking right back to us. We have allowed it to go away because there's no deliberate effort.
That's right.
The effort is the rains have come. Okay, how much are we spending to dredge the door? That's the big conversation. And then what? How are we, for example, recycling our refuse? How are we making money out of the cash out of trash? It's a conversation that we must have as a country.
That's right.
And I always say this with pain. In my home, if we ever use sachet water or bottled water, we don't lump the sachet water, leftover and the bottles, empty bottles, together with organic waste and all of it. When the waste management companies come, they put everything together. So what is the motivation? Where is the incentive? What are we teaching our children? Because I'm teaching my son Obrimpo how to segregate waste. But if I'm not at home and the waste guys come and they put everything together, what would they have taught my son?
That's right.
And I teach him to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I have taught him something. The new guys come, they put everything in there. He unlearns what I've taught him. He relearns this one. And then come.
What a cycle.
Yeah. Felicity Ahafianyo is joining us on the phone line now. She's with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Johnny. I am better today than yesterday. What about you?
Fantastic.
Helen?
I am greater than Accra, and Helen will answer for herself.
I too. Yeah. I'm greater than Accra.
There's nothing $1 million cannot do.
Absolutely nothing $1 million cannot do, man. Now, we see the clouds already. What else are we supposed to be seeing throughout the day?
Yeah, thanks so much. Good morning to your dear viewers and listeners. For today, we expect it to remain cloudy, dull, a little bit chilly this morning. By afternoon, we expect the sun to break through, and then later the clouds will resurface over the southern sector. For the northern sector, a rainstorm moved over the savannah and parts of the northern region this dawn, and currently is moving towards the western flank. We expect the area to also be cloudy with scattered cases of rain and thunderstorms. By afternoon, the place will become partly cloudy, and then into the evening, we expect some rain over places, but not that much that will bring a disturbance. In terms of temperatures, we expect it to range between 29 and 33 across the 16 regions. For the sea, we expect it to be rough, and we are having a moderate windy conditions. So fisher folks, if they today is Tuesday, I know they are not supposed to be over the sea, but if there is a need, they need to be mindful of the windy conditions. The water is cloudy this morning. By afternoon, we expect the sun to break through over their area, so they can also do their fishing activities if they are permitted to do so. So for today, this is how we are expecting it to be. But before we bring you the update tomorrow morning, widespread mist and fog patches is anticipated over the southern sector and even parts of the northern sector. And we are particular about this because it's going to bring about reduction in visibility, especially in foggy weather where visibility can be less than 100 meters. So we are anticipating and we are cautioning all the motorists that if they want to travel at dawn, and they should make sure that their headlights are good, their fog lights are good, so that when they encounter these things, they should reduce their speed and make use of these lights. And then also, if their vehicles break down on the road, especially the curvy areas, they should try as much as possible to remove them from there so that it will not become a nuisance to another road user.
I see. Thank you, Felicity. We're grateful for your time always. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, brighter day. No, it's going to be rainy. Abiam. It's not going to be a brighter day. Antithesis, Panye. Daily Graphic this morning says OSP grills Cecilia Dapa, mid-year budget review, collaborate for quick economic rebound of Oriata to private sector. Auditor General recovers unearned salaries, 11.52 million Ghana cedis so far retrieved as disallowances. NCA engages stakeholders on digital audio broadcasting. On the back page, Cocoa Abrabopa pays 9.2 million Ghana cedis to cocoa farmers, and Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association inaugurates 10th Secretariat in the Upper East. The Daily Guide this morning says, I will lead the NPP to make history, Dr. Bawumia. NPP flag bearers received delegates album Wednesday. Cecilia Dapa arrested over $1 million cash scandal. Economy expected to show positive stabilization signs. NDC marks Atta Mills's passing. And the Meridian for me this morning, we cannot trade Bawumia for anyone else. Takrady MP vow. And also there is a thin line between political loyalty and political stupidity. Razak Kojopoku writes, NPA security agencies intensify border patrol to curb fuel smuggling, and Ghana rolls out HIV self-testing kit. Helen?
All right, let's start off with the Ghanaian Times this morning. OSP quizzes Cecilia Dapa over stolen cash and jewelry from residents. 35 Ibutia SHS students suffer food poisoning. Togo attempts to lay claim to Volta Lake. It's captured on page 4. New railway master blueprint. No plan for SkyTrain. CEO of GRDA. Let's move on to the BNFT, the Business and Financial Times this morning. Ghana-US strengthen ties to promote tourism growth. AfriWalk 2023 to lead climate action discussions for women and children. Mid-year budget 2023, government will ensure food sufficiency of Oriata to stakeholders. Policy rate hits 30% amid persisting inflationary pressures. And lastly, I've got the Finder newspaper in front of me this morning. Dr. Awal urges black diaspora to focus on Africa's economic emancipation. OSP investigates Cecilia Dapa over corruption. NPP to disqualify aspirants who attack others. Interesting one there. Banks record 4.3 billion cedis profits in first half of 2023, while average lending rates fall to 31.5%. Takrady MP says Dr. Bawumia will not be exchanged for anyone else. And lastly, Akosua Menu calls for an end to factions in Adenta NPP.
Well, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has gotten into action because the calls have been made, and also because his office has been petitioned. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act, if I read it well, it's not just supposed to, what do you call it, investigate issues after it had been reported. The OSP can get into investigations on their own. So now I'm wondering why the OSP is paying attention to this one, which is a good thing, but not paying attention the past few days. Issues about Esla Usu, Ekofo, that Ablakwa raised about some deal, and then Esla, dared Kujeto Ablakwa. Kujeto Ablakwa brought evidence, GIFEC and all of that. OSP isn't investigating that. OSP is also not investigating the leaked Bugri Nabu tape on the IGP, which Bugri Nabu said, well, indeed, the tape was recorded, and it was recorded in my office. The people came to me and all of that. He's not investigating that. I found it strange that OSP is also not interested in the land grabbing saga, Jato and Enoch, which also went by. I'm not seeing anything in that direction.
You've just even reminded me that we had the case of one Clement Jato.
That's right.
On behalf of Enoch. I've completely forgotten about that.
Is there?
And even going a step further, another mission of the OSP is actually to prevent corruption. So what are some of the preventative measures that the OSP employs? I would love to know, because they seem like more of a reactionary institution.
That's
but if
right.
they have the mandate to also prevent, what sort of things does the
they
office
actually have a mandate to prevent.
to prevent?
Yeah.
I would love to know what type of mechanisms are employed to help with the prevention of corruption, because from where I sit again, it seems like a very reactionary institution. But if there are measures that are being put in place to help help the prevention. I think Ghanaians would also like to know, because one thing that has now gained even more prominence. Yesterday, Johnny, you set that conversation in motion about what the president had to say about Cecilia Dapa's integrity.
Now everybody's talking about it.
Following that, there's been an overwhelming amount of discourse targeted at what the president said, to say that was unnecessary, and also that the president missed an important mark to caution MPs and ministers and government appointees about the ills of corruption and why it just cannot be the case. I think I agree with those calls that the president missed an opportunity to also talk about corruption and give a strong warning. Yes, you can be buddy with whoever is in question, but you can use that as a teachable moment, allow the institutions to do their work.
The whole thing is a bombastic thing. William, good morning, welcome. I think that president plays too much.
Yesterday,
playing too much.
The joke. This one is a joke.
It's a joke.
So when the OSP and his men, the office from the OSP picked Miss Cecilia Dapa.
Right. Cecilia Dapa, MS.
First call that came, they asked her to put it on speaker. They said, Abena, call me later. It was coming from
Abena, call me later.
The call was coming from Opanara. Abena,
call me later. Call me later. But this is where we are. Now the investigation has been extended towards close family and friends. And they will also be investigated, because people are now saying on social media particularly, and that's what has become the new public sphere. If you know Jürgen Habermas and what he defined as the public sphere in the 1960s, that's what has become the public sphere now. People on social media have become awakened, they're talking and they're asking their questions and all of that. Now the conversation on social media is that the money could have been moved by this time from Cecilia Dapa's home and Mr. Osei-Kufuor's home to a different location, possibly the home of a close family or friend. And that's where the OSP, I suspect may be extending the conversation, towards that end. What do they know? What do they have? And you would be checking accounts and all of that. So let's see how the investigations go. I maintain my point that the president's comment in that letter, suggesting that he is confident that the woman's integrity will be protected, is misplaced, is prejudicial, and it is unhealthy. Because if somebody has $1 million under a bed, you are the last person who is supposed to be expressing confidence that the woman's integrity will be protected. What happened to saving in the bank? You should be the last person to be expressing confidence. That in itself should wipe away every confidence that you have. That, okay, so this is my minister for sanitation, my former minister for aviation. What does my finance minister have under his bed? What does my agric minister have under his bed? What does my health minister have under his bed? What does my national security minister have under his bed? What does my defense minister have under his bed? What does my interior minister have under his bed? What did my procurement minister have under her bed? You should be asking that question rather than be expressing confidence and be entrenching their thoughts about this whole, clearing agent thing. It's sad.
But this calls for resourcing the office of the special prosecutor. The last time I had the opportunity to listen to some of the officers from the office, they were saying that they have a lot to do in terms of even human resource, in terms of recruitment.
Right.
And so there are a lot of things that they wish they could move, but they don't have the resource. We all know the history of this office. From the one, even the payments of staff, the SP himself, the former one, the current one. And so if we are really serious about fighting corruption, this is an office that we should be pouring in millions of dollars, at least to just get what people are taking away and preventing them, so that they can play their preventive role. And some of the comments that have come in respect of the president's response, as I was trying to explain yesterday, the president was just flying on the relationship that he had with the woman, and that should have been separated from the official position of the presidency, the president, the government.
That's right.
But you see, it's always been said that it is hard to be humble when you think you have made it. It is very hard to be humble when you think you have made it. So at all times, the position and the posture of the president, the government, although Ghanaians say they are suffering, they think they have made it.
Right.
To the point where even when interest rate is still shooting up, as at yesterday, 30% up from the 29.3 or 5%. So these are things that the president should gauge when he's making any public comment, either written or verbal, so that at least Ghanaians will also think that he is thinking about us. This is a situation where, we should be circumspect in the way we handle the matter, because we don't know the source of the funds. That's fine. But for you to openly give her the assurance that, like her, you think that she will be exonerated, it only goes to cement the fact that you do not appear, or you haven't positioned yourself well enough to fight corruption.
No.
Because then the opportunity was there for you to just accept the thing and wish her well. That's it. But let us exchanging resignation and acceptance where we have phrases like my dear, and then that kind of thing.
Come on.
It also speaks to the fact that we should, as a country, be serious about everything that we do. Yesterday, I was watching a documentary about this one village, one dam, and for me, it has become one village, one scam. Because even the figures that the minister at the time was mentioning, Hawa Kumsin was mentioning, when the reporters,
what did you say?
I said, for me, it has become one village, one scam. Because yes, the idea was that there will be water all around.
That's right.
It is only the livestock
for irrigation. And
it is only livestock that's around the dry season. They are getting some water to drink. That small, pools of water to drink. But that was not the objective. These are things that, and the farmers are saying that even today, if the government comes to rectify those things, they will vote for the president. The presidential candidate. It's so dear to them. And all these conversations are necessary and they are in perspective, because monies that could go there to fix those problems have gone into people's pockets.
When I interviewed the former Greek minister who now wants to be president.
That's right.
Bourdieu. I asked him about the one village, one dam. His first comment was that it is utopian, unrealistic.
I recall.
Yeah, you remember that on New Day?
Yeah.
He said it was utopian.
And whose policy was
simply put, a foolish policy, if you ask me, an impossibility to have a dam in every village.
Yeah.
And then he moved on to ask me if I knew how much a dam costs, and whether or not I believe that we're going to have a dam in every place. So the Greek minister, whose work was going to be impacted by the dams, first of all finds it utopian, and number two says, I'm joking. And then I asked him how many dams had been constructed, and he says I shouldn't ask him that question. The person I should be asking is Hawa Kumsin. So straight away I get the impression that he doesn't want to take the fall, he doesn't want to take the blame, he wants Hawa Kumsin to take it, but the public will always go back to him.
That's right.
To ask him. Because I wouldn't go and ask Hawa Kumsin that, because Hawa Kumsin couldn't define fish farming. So if you ask me to go and ask her about our Greek stuff, I will be wasting my time. But you were giving to us as their Greek master with experience, PhD, whatever. So I should be asking you. For him to have told me that, it means that there was disunity, number one. They had not synchronized their policies, and they had just told the people that everything was okay at the top, when in fact it was not. And the farmer at the bottom is going to suffer. Simple analysis. We import so much rice, so much maize into this country. Maize, for example, takes about 3 to 4 months to get staged and you harvest it. We presently do 2 seasons of maize in this country because we depend on the rain-based farming. Can you imagine if we had, if we had the dams and we were irrigating? We could have 4 cycles of, of harvest in a year.
So that throughout the year, every quarter you are harvesting.
Thank you. And that could cut largely our importation of, because maize, everybody eats maize. Cocoa for maize, banku for maize, kenke for maize. People even do akpele for maize. Plenty things. Corn flour, whatever. So the basic things that the people need, and the policies that were brought about for the people. And mind you, that policy, one village, one dam, is supposed to help the rural folks stay in the villages and not all migrate to Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Takrady, and the rest to come and choke the already choked economy. 7 years down the line, what is the story? A joke.
The story is that all those monies that are needed to develop those areas for the rural urban migration to cease, all those monies, a lot of it are going into corruption. And according to the Ghana Integrity Initiative, the country loses up to $3 billion annually. Annually. That is every year, $3 billion. And this is Ghana, not Africa. Ghana loses $3 billion annually to corruption. This estimate was confirmed by the 2021 Ghana Integrity of Public Services Survey, GIPSS report, which showed that 5 billion cedis was paid in bribes to public officials in just 2021.
Can you imagine?
Just 2021.
1 year pay.
1 year. So if we are serious about fighting corruption, and when it goes to the global level, it's about 2.6 trillion. So there are some jobs that when you get, the praise and the chorus is that, why ye? And some of us also have to watch the way we hound people for financial support when you get into certain spaces. Because in Ghana, your family will even insult you openly for not coming to give them largesse, money, free money to spend when you are in public office, whether you're in political or just civil service or public service. As soon as you get
you're a big man, and you have to bring the money.
They worry. You see, people, and this also calls for the spread of the national cake. If the development is spread across, evenly, people will also find the wherewithal to live without necessarily depending on the only one person.
I'm looking for who bakes the national cake. I want to befriend the person.
You want to buy firewood for
No, I want to befriend the person.
No, but seriously.
Because if you're closer to the cake, you get your chunk earlier.
These are the conversations that we should be having. This is not to suggest that Cecilia Abunadapa Miss has stolen any money.
No.
This is not to suggest. But this is also not to submit that what she has done hasn't brought about the conversation of corruption and public thefts, including senior political figures like herself. Because until we get an explanation, all kinds of thinking will be going on.
That's
and
right.
corruption cannot be cut out of that public discourse and thinking. So I'm saying there's no way. Even the Bank of Ghana governor yesterday said that it is worrying. That's the word he used. It is worrying when individuals are keeping such huge, humongous,
for me,
amounts of money in their homes.
And yesterday we asked a question here, what the Bank of Ghana has said.
Yeah.
Up until yesterday, the Bank of Ghana had not spoken. And I'm sure the Bank of Ghana only spoke because everybody was asking, where are you, Bank of Ghana? This matter broke last Friday. The Bank of Ghana was silent. Saturday passed. Sunday passed. The better part of Monday passed until the Bank of Ghana spoke. The same Bank of Ghana that is involved in the gold for oil, trading our gold to get dollars and adding dollars to go and buy oil for cheaper fuel, and the fuel prices keep going up. Same Bank of Ghana. Same Bank of Ghana that marshaled the police and national security to go and arrest 79 abochi on the black market. Same Bank of Ghana that is joining our government to go and borrow dollars. So if it takes 3 days before the Bank of Ghana is able to come to the realization and make a statement on this, mind you, the Bank of Ghana has become synonymous with organizing press conferences at all times. Yes. They organize press conferences at all times. They can come and discuss with William that, William, your bank, blah, blah, blah. We have an arrangement. William says, give me some time, blah, blah, blah. By the time William realizes they are doing a press conference, Kofi Amwabing said it. How they took over his UT bank. He said it. He has said it many times. So the Bank of Ghana can organize a press conference, could have organized a press conference on Friday evening, could have done that on Saturday, could have done that on Sunday, if the matter meant anything to them.
But he's still talking about
the Bank of Ghana in itself needs cleansing.
As for that, it
needs cleansing.
It's on the table. All those individuals who were involved in the supervision of the if you like, the dead banks.
Yes.
I mean, investigations have been going on since 1957. We're just hoping that we get the reports and see what they do.
The people on social media are not confident at all that anything is going to happen. And it is just so worrying. It is absolutely worrying. People have just lost confidence in the institutions. And the longer we allow that to fester, just check the temperature. Everybody says, oh, by next week, dear, no, be and the media has come under a lot of fire. But just think about the number of scandals just last week that we had to ruminate on.
I was just giving you 3.
We didn't even finish Clemens Jato
and the land sharing.
We were reminded about our SkyTrain dilemmas, monies that we haven't been able to recover.
Ursula's millions of dollars of contracts.
Look, if we don't do anything about this dollar thing, as a continent and as a country, we are going to suffer for so long.
But the point is that, William,
look,
people have,
Johnny,
people have dollars in their homes.
According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Africa imported about 85% of its food. 85%.
This is the entire continent.
Yes.
Goodness me.
2016 to 2018 from outside the continent.
With all the arable lands.
$35 billion. This is dollars. And it's expected to reach 110 billion by 2025. So by 2025 June, dear.
You know that in the scheme of development, right? There what Walt Rosto's model, and I learned this at GIG many years ago. Walt Rosto's model. Africa is still an agrarian society.
Yeah, where are the
we are not industrialized.
Yes.
We are an agrarian society. We are at the bottom. If the agrarian society is now importing 85% of its food, and those who have industrialized are now the ones feeding us food.
Yes. And that's
we are in trouble.
We are in very, very
big
trouble.
The way we depend on the dollar is worrying. The continent depends on the dollar so much. And the US can just enter the treasury, print dollars, and come and give it to us as loans and take all our minerals, and then we'll be here.
Okay, Charlie, we have to go.
I do